His portfolio covers energy and environmental policy. Jacob earned a Master of Public Administration with a focus on energy and environment. During his time at GISBEA, he served as the Vice President of the Student Cabinet, Career Toolkit Coordinator for the University Center for International Studies, and as an Assembly Board member for the Graduate and Professional Student Government. He graduated from California University of Pennsylvania as a TRIO alumnus with a Bachelor of Science in Business and Political Science. Formerly, Jacob was a program analyst in congressional affairs for the Department of Commerce, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, focusing on climate, ocean, research, and Arctic priorities. He was also a budget analyst with NOAA, formulating and justifying budget proposals for capital improvements, facilities, and construction projects. Following his graduation from GISBEA, he was an inaugural member of the NOAA Honors Program. Jacob notes his biggest accomplishment is being a big brother to his sister with special needs, a friend to many, and a public servant to the American people. He currently resides in Arlington, Virginia, where he enjoys staying on top of current affairs, mentoring first-generation and low-income students, reading American history and presidential biographies, staying active, and spending time outdoors. Thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us today.
Thank you all so much, and congratulations to the class of 2024. Let's get a round of applause. I see many of my friends in the audience today. Luke, I guess my only friend, right? Today is a special day. You are all graduating from one of the nation's finest public policy schools during one of the most trying and important times in history. For those of you who don't know me, I guess you just met me. I'm Jacob Garcia. I work at OMB. We are a component of the White House. Now, I am here in my personal capacity, so my views here today are not reflective of the United States government by any means. I graduated 5 years ago. I remember that intimate, bittersweet feeling of the uncertainty of tomorrow. So my aim today is just to share a few stories about myself and my stories. My first story is about moving forward and taking action. My first year at GISBEA was incredibly hard. I remember reading Ron Chernow's biography of Ulysses S. Grant and felt inspired by a quote: "I am a verb instead of a personal pronoun. A verb is anything that signifies to be, to do, to suffer, and I signify all three." The summer before I started GISBEA, a bank had foreclosed on my childhood home, and my parents lost everything. They both declared bankruptcy amidst a lengthy and fraught divorce. My mom, my sister, and I had to move into a small apartment in Pittsburgh. We were not allowed to bring more than one pet with us, so we had to give away 2 of our cats. And my family was on food stamps. Coincidentally, this was also the time I was accepted into GISBEA. I was super thrilled. I've been rejected by several universities. Even one university rejected me even before my reviewing my application. I was so proud of myself and happy that GISBEA took a chance. It was a huge financial risk. I had no savings, no idea how I was going to pay for school. I felt ashamed of, did I belong? Did I earn this? But I also felt an intense sense of urgency in my life, like an endless, energetic wave ripping across an ocean. There was no going back. I had one motion, and it was forward. And during my time at GISBEA, I made the most of it. I was commuting 90 minutes each way, 60 minutes on the T, very slow, 30 minutes on a bus, also very slow. And for nearly 2 years, I spent almost every day on campus. And what I learned is GISBEA is a school, a hardworking school. It is a community of practitioners. It is a program that takes chances on the upstarts, gives voice to the misfits and the outsiders. But it also, most importantly, provides practical lessons in life. Because when you graduate, there is no syllabus, there is no final exam, there are no grades. And you must be fearless in moving forward, fearless in the face of great uncertainty, and fearless in taking responsibility for your life. And as you reflect on your success today, cherish those moments that brought you here. Moments like right now are a mirror of your character and hard work, and character is ultimately your life. My second story is about bucking conventions, defying the odds, and finding what makes you unique despite the consequences. During my time at GISBEA, I was less focused on grades and more focused on how I could apply my education in real life. If I wanted to create public policy, what would stop me from just doing it, I thought. I spent nights, weekends, long days on campus, reading, writing, networking, studying, you name it. I loved my classes and made so many friends, and of course, shout out to student Gispia cabinet. And I slowly built my professional life and reputation, but it was also my first foray into getting a job, as neither of my parents had college degrees. I was completely mystified. I mean, I didn't really know what it meant or how to do it. I mean, seriously, like, how do you get a job? I didn't graduate with a job lined up, and 2 months later, after graduation, I had to apply back to my retail job that I worked during undergrad. And I only received a 50-cent raise for my newest degree. Woo. In truth, I really did feel like the ultimate failure. I questioned my judgment and my time at Gispia. I also felt immense relief, like any expectations of success were thrown off of me, one retail transaction at a time. I spent most days listening to music, walking on a nearby trail. I reflected a lot on my purpose in life. And I realized that professional life cannot be dictated by how your peers are doing, because social media is not real. Comparing yourself to others is not a useful measure of your worth. You are all unique. You must look inward first and find your sense of purpose. And I ask myself, why do we have to play by the rules that others have set for us? What if we just did not assume the same assumptions? What if we did not listen to traditional advice? What if conformity was the problem? This is exactly what makes Gispia and Pittsburgh great. It is our grit, our resilience, our ability to ask tough questions, and like the city itself, to reinvent ourselves. You must always believe in your abilities, despite conventional measures of success. You must also know who you are and find comfort in the curious and cruel search for purpose. You are your greatest advocate and likely your greatest critic. So remember, searching for a job should be fun. Embrace your uniqueness. Leverage your story. Recognize that employers want your ability to connect with all walks of life. Be bold, take risks, and do not limit yourself. My last story is about public service, finding purpose, and what motivates me. President Bill Clinton once said, "No one is perfect, but most people are good. That people can't be judged by their worst or weakest moments, that harsh judgments can make hypocrites of us all. That a lot of life is just showing up and hanging on. That laughter is often the best and sometimes the only response to pain. That everyone has a story of dreams and nightmares, hope and heartache, love and loss, courage and fear, sacrifice and selfishness." In the summer of 2016, between my junior and senior year of undergraduate, I was working my retail job that I had to go back to, of course. And my father's alcoholism, drug addiction, and mental health had declined so much that he became increasingly abusive towards my mom. I was living at home, working those days, largely unsure of my life and what I wanted to do with it. And so one day when I was at work, I received a call from my mom. My mom was in a very scary situation. And that night, I drove her to the Allegheny County Courthouse. And we waited in line of battered and abused women for hours to see a midnight judge. A midnight judge would determine if my mom received temporary protection from abuse. I watched my mom recount her story, and the judge granted my mom the PFA and saved her life. Watching the judge, a public servant, spend her time late into the evening to women suffering from violence changed my life. I felt I had a life to live for myself and for my mom. I felt conflicted about my decision, but mostly questioned my lot in life. But I also felt a great fire in my belly, this bubbling feeling of destiny, that I must do something important with my life. My sense of purpose and drive has led me to many successes in my early career, and now to OMB, and in the White House, where I can create big impacts on national level policy. A place and position that 5 years ago was never in the cards. And as I've shared today, I've faced many failures. I felt inadequate, not appreciated, misunderstood, lacking this or that, not knowing how my story fits nicely into a resume or cover letter, lacking the confidence to speak up, and that creeping feeling of not being qualified enough. That feeling of why me, that fear of when will this all go away, because surely I do not deserve this. So to the class of 2024, no matter where you start, where you end, where you begin, with purpose and drive, you can overcome great odds. It does not matter about your wealth, your status, your home life, your past. Despite the odds, despite the critics, despite the competition, you can become something out of nothing and even weather the depths of the most difficult situations. You must be relentlessly connected to your intuition and your gut, give grace to others, and respect uncomfortable opinions. You must seek mentors to learn from, but then you must be willing to break away and give life to your own ideas. Commit yourself totally to your goals. See obstacles as just that, something to overcome. And you are graduating in one of the most challenging and complex times in recent history. But you are also graduating with the gift of great purpose. And before you is a great generational opportunity to shape the world. The sense of urgency and responsibility is great, and you will rise to the occasion because Gispia has made that difference. I wish you all so much luck, and thank you for this opportunity.